faces, faces, faces. Hello, welcome to Sound and Fury Book Reviews. As usual, I'm Tina, and this is Proust Reflections. So this is Book 3, Part 7, page 621 to 720 in my version. Sorry if I don't sound as coherent today. I've had like 3 hours of sleep. Highly recommend sleep training your babies off of the breast before they're 9 months old. Anyway, imagine if you were stuck at the same party for weeks on end, but it wasn't a fun party full of drinking and other substances, or like a board game party, or even a dinner party with amazing food. It's a party where these insufferable people you could hardly call friends posture and gossip about other people the entire time while you're stuck there just listening. That's what reading this section of the book is like at times. While I am in awe of Proust's ability to keep this up, like this whole party goes on for like 300 plus pages, let alone like it's pretty much like one conversation as well. But I really want to like pull a French exit on this party myself, a good old Irish goodbye. One time my friends had this housewarming party near my house. My partner and I did rock, paper, scissors, because that's how we decide everything, over who got to go to the party and who had to stay home and babysit, because we couldn't get a sitter. I won, so I got to go to the party, but I was like, oh, I'll just go for, a couple hours, I'll be home by 11, blah, blah, blah. No, I stumble in at like 2 in the morning, just rip roaring out of my face. I had just left the party too. I didn't tell anyone I was going. I was just like, Uber, okay, bye. And that's my typical style. My husband is like a say goodbye to everybody 3 times kind of person. Like if I want to leave by a certain time, I have to warn him like 45 minutes before to be like, start saying your goodbyes now, because he'll literally go to every single person and give them all like hugs and high fives and etc. Like this is obviously pre-COVID. Even if it's just like his parents who we see all the time. But me, I'm like French exit. French exit is the best way to leave. I would definitely do this at any soiree at the Guermantes. I mean, I'd wait for dinner to be over, but yeah, I'd be like, bye. Just like, okay. As such, not much happens in this section. There's a bit about the Princess de Parme and how the Duchess operates. Basically, she's bored AF with her life and puts others down to bolster her own self-esteem. It's very fragile, this self-esteem. I think it's like so thin that you could snap it like that. It doesn't help that her husband cheats on her all the time, and she's well aware of it. She also likes to cause crap for her own amusement. In short, one day she will wake up lonely and unfulfilled and realize that if she had just been less of a dick, she might have some real friends. Yeah, so the Duchess. There are some interesting moments in this section though. Apparently Oriane, that's the Duchess's name, I think I've said that, she doesn't care for women's conversations and that women bore her. Yes, Oriane is not like the other girls. She's so witty, so intelligent. Perhaps the problem is that other women are afraid to confide in her or talk about intelligent issues with her because she's so belittling and sarcastic. Maybe the problem isn't women, the problem is you, Oriane. Yeah. So there's this interesting part. After all, the survival of etiquette in an egalitarian society would be no more miraculous than the practical success of the railways or the use of the aeroplane in war. Besides, even if politeness were to vanish, there is nothing to show that this would be a misfortune. Finally, would not society become secretly more hierarchical as it became outwardly more democratic? Very possibly. So this is Proust making some predictions, I think. About the railways. Okay, yes, those are varying in their degrees of use for us today. Airplanes, I think Proust would be very impressed with the Red Baron. Well, maybe not the Red Baron, but, those kind of pilots. And then, the stealth bombers we have today, I'm pretty sure he's wrong about the use of airplanes in war. Pretty sure. But I think the core of his argument isn't about these specific technologies. It's about his assumption that etiquette equals aristocracy. He seems to think that politeness stems from the upper class and that without the elites to set the bar for basis of conduct, everyone would be impolite or rude or vulgar, as he calls Bloch. Now, true, today we are more frank about certain issues regarding, say, sexuality, But I wouldn't equate that with politeness, as we are better off as a society, I think, for being more open about subjects once taboo. I'm all about how if you give a child or a teenager all the information they have, it will make the best decision that they can with that knowledge. Yet, democracy does lend itself to freedom of expression. This is the foundation of democracy, that you can't be arrested for saying something. But that also means people misconstrue the intent behind free speech. Freedom not to be prosecuted for speaking out does not mean that you can say racist, sexist things and then complain when people call you out on it. Yeah, you can say this stuff if you want to, but then those that tell you off have a right to tell you off as well. And I think that's where intent matters, and that's why hate speech is condemned and can get you into trouble, as it should. Hate speech is not the same as free speech. And I think that's the problem, is that people seem to think that free speech or freedom of expression means that you can just go around insulting people or being rude or spreading hate, when you really can't. That's not the point of it. The point originally of freedom of expression was so people can't be arrested by the government for speaking out against the government. It wasn't intended to stop you from being a racist dick. Another interesting spot. The idea that anyone could voluntarily renounce 100 dinners or luncheons, twice as many afternoon teas, 3 times as many receptions, to visit the Norwegian fjords seems no more explicable than 20,000 leagues under the sea. This is on one area where I agree with the Duchess. Fjords over fake friends any day. I'd love to go to the fjords. God. So there's a picture I'm going to reference here. So there's a rather long passage that I think is quite interesting and quite funny. So this is the Duke of Guermantes talking. He says, "One doesn't need to be an expert to look at that sort of thing. I know, of course, that they're merely sketches, but still, I don't feel myself that he puts enough work into them. Swann had the nerve to try and make us buy a bundle of asparagus. In fact, it was in the house for several days. There was nothing else in the picture, just a bundle of asparagus, exactly like the ones you're eating now. But I must say, I refused to swallow M. Elistier's asparagus. He wanted 300 francs for them. 300 francs for a bundle of asparagus." I thought this was so funny. I don't know why I thought it was so funny, but he's just going on about this stupid bundle of asparagus. It's true. I mean, I don't know why you would pay $300, or I guess whatever that would be in money today, probably a lot. Here's the conversion. It's a lot for a bundle of asparagus. There's another part. I think Marcel got hit on by Prince Vaughan, but it either went over his head or he wasn't interested. It seemed to me that Vaughan was trying very hard to get Marcel to come back, to come home with him on the pretext of something else. And then Marcel turned him down a couple times, and then he just screwed her off and stopped talking to him. I feel bad for poor Prince Vaughan. That probably took guts back then. Or maybe he does it all the time, but I don't know. But I was just like, oh, Marcel, you could have had a more interesting evening than sitting around listening to the Duchess. But I guess you weren't interested. Too bad. The Duchess is talking about furniture. She says, "I love the discomfort of warriors who understand nothing but the curule chair and stack their laurels in the middle of their main living room. I can assure you that at the Aeneas one doesn't stop to think for a moment of how comfortable one is when one sees in front of one a great strapping wench of a Victory painted in fresco on a wall." I agree. That's kind of my aesthetic as well. Okay, so there's a couple quotes that I liked. "I fancy she's slightly under the influence of Bacchus," aka she's tanked. I thought that was pretty funny. That's a great way to explain it. "Sometimes in this life, under the stress of an exceptional emotion, people do say what they think," which is true. "Resuming his role as the cliff which, whilst by standing up against the wave, forces it to fling even higher its crest of foam." So I thought that was a cool image. Anyway, that's all I got this week. Sorry if this was disjointed and kind of ranty. I'm, as I said, quite tired. I don't know why I do this on Fridays. I should just do this on another day of the week. Too bad. I'm condemned now. Forever.